This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
I look out my window and I see my neighbor, Doug. Poor, lazy, deplorable Doug.
Live from Joe's mom's basement, it's the Stacking Benjamin Show. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and why are so many baby boomers burning through their savings? We'll share 3 reasons, maybe a few more, plus what you can do to not be included in that group. Plus, we'll feature a TikTok minute all about real estate planning. What do you need to know about your prized possessions? We'll share guidance. And plus, we'll answer a question from one stacker who thought, I'd better call Saul. See hi and OG. And then I'll share some crazy trivia because it's Old Joke Day. And now 2 guys who might be old, and I'm not joking. It's Joe and OG.
Oh, he's so funny.
Funny guy, huh?
How are you, old man OG?
I'm still quite sprightly compared to you two, so I don't know.
Easy, come on.
Who he's calling old.
Man.
Seasoned.
We are young in spirit. Welcome to the Young in Spirit podcast, Doug. I'm super happy we're here on a Wednesday, entertaining you with more financial fun. So sit back, relax, because we are about to take you on a journey into money bliss. Isn't that what you call it?
Bliss?
No.
Money bliss?
Maybe not. Money harmony? Money loving? Money.
Synchronicity? I don't know. Synchronicity?
Money.
That's not a word.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll get into it. We got a great show for you today, but just to make sure that, you know how like during the holidays you get all excited? Like I remember Christmas time and I just want to unwrap the presents.
It's kind of like Christmas in July, right? Is that not where we are?
It is.
This is Christmas in July for you?
We're going to make you wait for 2 minutes while our sponsors who make this free for you.
Mom and Dad go get coffee.
Right. Exactly. And try to wake up because it's 3:30 in the morning. Damn it. Go back to bed, kids. We'll be right back. Dell PCs with Intel Inside are built for the moments you plan and the ones you don't. They're for those all-night study sessions, the moment you're working from a cafe and realize every outlet's taken, the times you're deep in your flow and can't be interrupted by an auto update. That's why Dell builds tech that adapts to you. Built with long-lasting batteries so you're not scrambling for an outlet, and built-in intelligence that makes updates around your schedule, not in the middle of it. Find technology built for the way you work at Dell.com/Dell PCs. Built for you. In business, there is no room for guesswork. Every shipment matters. Every deadline counts. And when you're trying to keep operations running smoothly, the last thing you need is uncertainty. That's why reliability is at the core of USPS Ground Advantage. From the moment your package is first scanned in, it moves through a secure nationwide network, aiding in a timely and accurate delivery. You get near real-time tracking so you can keep up with your shipments. And with affordable upfront pricing, there are no hidden fees or surprise surcharges to throw off your cost sheets. It all adds up to predictable deliveries you can depend on, because knowing your logistics are handled lets you focus on everything else, your customers, your team, and the future you're building. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to start shipping with confidence. USPS Ground Advantage. We mean business. We can get the show started now, OG. We've got a great headline, so let's get rolling.
Hello, darlings. And now it's time for your favorite part of the show, our Stacking Benjamin's headlines.
Remember how I said on Monday that most MoneyWise articles suck?
I do. Are you going to grab another one?
That's why we went right back to it. This comes
so many other good ones.
This comes to us from MoneyWise. Maury Beckman wrote this piece. Here is the thing about MoneyWise pieces, if you didn't hear us on Monday. They start off good. You got a good header. Sometimes the headline does not translate into the piece. And by the end, it always devolves into a sales pitch. But let's begin where the beginning is, because this is clickbait. 3 reasons why boomers are eating through their retirement savings so quickly, how to preserve your nest egg. When you get to a certain age, OG, you do start burning through your nest egg. I mean, that is a part of the game. I think the one misconception people have is that you're going to Scrooge McDuck your way to a big pile of money. It's going to create some sort of a dividend stream, and that pile of money is never going to go down.
I mean, that's kind of my plan.
But for the vast majority of people, I think they got to be comfortable with a little bit of, you worked hard to make this money. You got to be comfortable with some of it going bye-bye.
Okay. Yeah.
No? Yes?
I mean, as long as it's not going to run out. You're saying it's okay that it has peaked at some point and it goes down a little bit, as long as you're not running it to zero.
Yeah, you put $2 million away, let's say. Crazy money.
Probably you put away like $700K and the rest of it's market growth.
Yeah, right. So you got this nest egg at $2 million. Let's say you're 60 years old.
Okay.
I would think that by the time you're 75 or 80, having that nest egg down to $1 million, not a big deal.
By the time you're 70, that would be a big deal.
No. Did I say 70? Did I say 70?
You said 70 or 80. I mean, you gave it quite a wide range.
Sorry. Yeah. I should have said 75 or 80. I'm all hopped up on caffeine this morning.
That's okay.
So
That's all right.
15, 20 years later, I think you've run 2 million down to $1 million.
I don't know. I think that there's a balancing act here of being too miserly and worrying too much about the future around other people, right? I can't spend it because I don't want my kids, I got to leave something for the grand, there's that. I don't want to be that person. I don't think that I like the idea of people being too conservative in their spending because of the fact that, they're worried about saving stuff for the next generation. I think you should do that. I think that if you've accumulated $2 million in your example, I don't know that you need to go buy a couple of Ferraris just so that you consume it all, but it is your money. And I think people spend too little relative to what could be spent, like the 4% rule, right? Like that's the thing that people say. I think that number can be a little bit higher as long as you're okay with fluctuations in that, depending on market conditions. Because remember, the idea of the 4% rule is that you start out at 4%, increase it with inflation every year, and your money should never run out over, a 30-year retirement. And if you do the math on it, in fact, what will happen is in all likelihood, the money will continue to grow. So in your example, you retire at 60 with $2 million. By the time you're 80, you might have 4 or 5 million, which to me means you probably could have spent a little bit more than 4% early on if you're okay with letting off the gas if you start bumping up against a guardrail because you got unlucky with timing. I think people are far too conservative with their spending because they're worried about running out.
I do too, for people that saved.
I should say at that level. Yeah. Then there's a group of people that haven't saved much, right? They're 60 and They have 200,000. Yeah, that's a whole different world.
But wait, OG, there's more. In these 3 reasons boomers are eating through their retirement savings so quickly, Maury starts this piece by saying that baby boomers have an average of $120,300 saved for retirement, according to Northwest Mutual's Planning and Progress Study 2024. It also explained why so many people are concerned about running out of money. Well, the problem is that they don't have nearly enough money, and that's why they are worried about it. There are 3 reasons they list here. Number 1 is they got a late start. And I kind of groan when I read that because You can only start when you start. But the average person started saving at 37 years old. They found the typical boomer started saving for retirement at 37, didn't do anything before 37.
Okay.
Because of this, a good number of boomers today may have a smaller nest egg than they actually need to live comfortably and are dipping into their savings at a faster pace because they have immediate bills they can't put off. But you know what? If you're hearing this and you're 40, I don't want the message to be that you're screwed. I'm hoping the message is just do as much as you can. Get moving.
If you're 40 and you think you're screwed, you're crazy. You have so much time. It's insane. Do you have the same protections as the person who started maxing everything out at 22? No, you don't. You're 20 years behind that person. But you have an insane amount of time. That doesn't mean that you can do it without a lot of stress or anxiety, right? Because just like people say things like, I'll donate money to charity when I have finally made X dollars. I'll start saving when I finally get to Y dollars in my paycheck. Look, if you can't save 10% and you're making $1,000 a week, you're not going to save 10% when you make 10,000 a week. We've seen all of those stories from the New York Times. There was that story in the New York Times about like how broke the guy is that makes 500K. And people who don't make 500K are like, what the heck? Oh my God, look at all the exit. I guarantee if you pulled that guy that did the article, pull him out of the lineup and go, how are you feeling? Be like, dude, it's crazy, man. Barely have any money. And it sounds insulting to the person that's making 50K going, dude, if I had 500,000, I would no, you wouldn't. Cause stuff changes in your life. Like there's very few people that don't have that even a little bit of lifestyle creep. And plus New York obviously is a different world, but I'm saying like, if you can't build the discipline and the muscle, you and I were just talking about working out, going, I've worked out for 3 days. How come my damn weight's still down or still up? I haven't lost a pound.
I can't lift my arms above my head.
I've been doing this for 3 solid days. Damn it.
I didn't know you were going to bring that up. That was before we started recording. I'm like, oh man, am I sore?
No, I do the same thing. You get back in the gym, I get back on the bike and you're like, dude, I rode at least 20 miles today. I shredded at least 30 pounds, and it's like down 0.1. You're like, damn it. I got to do, but it's not about the volume. It's about the consistency of doing it, and the consistency of saving and building that habit starts whenever it starts. To your point, sometimes you got to get through life to realize, get into life a little ways before you go, oh geez, I need to do something different. Some people are able to do it right away. Different incomes, different family backgrounds, whatever. And some people can't, but you're never going to be able to go, I didn't save when I made 100 grand, but I promised to save when I make 200, because you won't. Never. You have to start with something. And even if it's, I'm going to save 1% of my paycheck in my 401k. I'm going to save 1% of my paycheck in my Roth IRA this year. And next year I'm going to try 1.5. That's how you get to the point where you're financially caught up. If that's how you feel like you're behind, or that's how you get to the point where you've maxed it out, or you read these stories about people that are his and hers 401k maxing and his and her Roth maxing and bag of backdoor Roths and, an HSA man, you go, how the heck are they doing it? Well, they didn't start doing it that way. Probably, it's rare. We talk to people like that on occasion, but most of the time it's like, no, every paycheck I saved a little bit more. Every paycheck I put a little bit more away. And yeah, now I'm 45 and I'm doing all this stuff, but it's because I started when I was 25. Now, if you're 40 and you're going, I haven't done anything yet, you got to start with $1. You got to start saving $50. You got to automate $50 a month into a brokerage account.
Let's talk tactically about how to get that done, because you're going to have a bunch of emoji, I think immediately, of 2. Number 1 is automation is always your buddy. Hide the money from yourself. The quicker you set automation in motion and make it so that you don't have to, we used the word discipline earlier. I don't think you need discipline. I think you need automation. Automation gets rid of this idea that, I do have to go work out to get somewhere. But if I set this automation pattern around my money, I don't have to. And what's funny is how quickly I adapt to what I automated. So we're always afraid to automate. So like, what if I need that money later? Automate it. You can change it later. Just change it later. See how it works. Push yourself a little bit. And you know what you'll find? 6 weeks from now, you're never going to miss that money. You're not going to miss it. I think that's number one. Number two is, we're afraid. This whole piece is about fear. Boomers worried that they're running out of money. And I think if you're early on, you're in your 40s or you're in your 50s and you're listening to this and you haven't started, I think you got to make fear work for you. You're always going to be afraid. Like, remember in 8th grade, 9th grade, you'd have that project and you knew about it for 6 weeks. And we wouldn't do the comedian Brian Regan thing where we wake up the night before and go, oh God, I had 6 weeks to work on this and I've done nothing. But you did, OG, procrastinate until you got to a certain point and you went, okay, this is all I can think about. I have to do this house in 1900 Brooklyn made out of popsicle sticks, and it's going to take me 3 days. But you would wait till the last 3 days to get fear actually worked for you those last 3 days. So knowing that fear is going to work for you, I think you got to do the same thing with your saving. You're afraid right now that you're going to not be able to save.
Yeah.
Switch that around and say, let's put myself at 70 years old and I have no money. Put yourself there and go, okay, I haven't saved a dime. I let fear control my life at 30, at 40, at 50, and I haven't saved anything. How do you feel now? And I'll tell you what happens. Every time that I've used that scenario, the person on the other side goes, I got to get going now. And all of a sudden they think of like 50 ways because they let fear work for them today by projecting this image of me broke at age 70.
Yeah. There's a great book from Ben Hardy called Willpower Doesn't Work. Part of the piece of that book is about process and systems and designing your environment to make sure that you can't screw it up, because you're not going to have the willpower to do it. Everyone, almost exclusively, I can say this, everyone has tried some sort of diet program. Everyone has tried some sort of workout program. Everyone has done all these different things with money. And the common theme of people who are successful is they take the guesswork out of it. You decide one time and then set up the system so that you don't have to think about it ever again. Because when do you think about your money stuff going on? Do you think about it at 9 a.m. when you're in the middle of your corporate meeting? Or do you think about it at 8 p.m. when you finally got home and you finally got to the mailbox and there's a bunch of stuff in there and there's statements and bills and Amex is calling because you forgot to pay yesterday? You know what I mean? Like that's when you think about it, right? You don't think about it when you're fresh. You think about it at the end of the day, when you have crappy decision-making time. It's scientifically proven people run out of ability to make good decisions. So take yourself out of that process, remove the obstacle, which is you, and sit down with a clean sheet of paper. Sit down on a Saturday morning, like you said, with your weekly meeting with Cheryl, right? You sit down when you're fresh and go, all right, I need to design this the right way. Everything counts. Let me take everything off the table, and I'm starting with a clean sheet of paper. Everything that you read about money, what is the first rule about how to save money? Who gets paid first?
You.
Yeah. The easiest way to do that, especially if you work for a company that has a retirement plan, is just turn it on. If it's already on, turn it up just a little bit. Change it 1%. To your point, it's not life sentence. You don't have to look at it and be like, oh God, if I change this from 5 to 6, what if I need that money? You can change it back. There's maybe your plan is such that you can only make the change once a quarter. Maybe. In which case, okay, build a cash reserve first if you don't have one. If you do have a cash reserve, I would crank that thing up until you dipped into your cash reserve. Find out, you say the words fear. I like the word stress. Find out where the stress is. Back to working out. I don't know that you should chase muscle soreness. I don't think that should be your goal at the end of every session. But there is something that feels good about that, right? You're like, I'm kind of sore. Must be growing. Getting the guns all swole for the ladies. Cheryl's gonna like me now. It's like, look
Finally.
at that. Got the pump on. Finally. There is something about finding where that stress is to decide how far you can go. Why not? You've had the thing gone this way forever. Why not yank the wheel that direction forever and see what happens? People get worried about like, well, I might have to dip into my savings. Well, what the hell do you think it's for? Savings is in case of an opportunity or an emergency. Maybe the emergency is you freaking haven't saved enough money for retirement. Maybe that's your emergency.
Big emergency later. Some boomers, Maury writes, may have also taken a less aggressive approach because they expect one thing to replace much of their retirement income. I don't think our stackers are thinking that. Of course, Social Security's what I'm talking about.
Well,
do we have any stackers thinking, hey, Social Security is going to make my day?
I don't know. I happen to believe that Social Security is going to be okay. I think if you do the math on it, it's an amazing payoff if it works the way it should. It's not as good as you investing your own money, but we know historically people are not really great at investing their own money. And there's a whole section of people that are clamoring for their 7.65% to be deposited. Well, 6.2, I guess, as it were, for Social Security part, but to be let me invest my own money. It's like, you'll screw that up. Just take the government return. Even if the Social Security has a reduction in benefits. And I think it would be prudent from a planning standpoint. If you're a young person, if you're 50 and under, maybe it's prudent to say, I'm going to take the number that they send me on my statement. You can go online, ssa.gov, get your Social Security statement and work through the estimates. I think it would be prudent to take that number and knock it down by 25%. I don't see a scenario where it goes away completely.
No, definitely. I don't either. I remember work done several years ago by Jane Bryant Quinn, the financial columnist and reporter. Jane did a bunch of work on this and really came to the conclusion that Social Security was such a popular program, and our Congress people in Washington relied on it so much for votes and protecting Social Security, not for votes, that the chance of Social Security not being fixed or being around is there's a lot of other stuff that's going to go first before Social Security changes significantly. What I was saying is the number of people who don't save OG because they think that Social Security is going to be enough money. That's what Maury's saying in this piece. And it's nowhere near enough money. Nowhere near enough.
Well, I don't remember the exact numbers, but I think that it was somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 or 50% was originally the amount that Social Security was supposed to cover. It wasn't meant to be a national pension system of replacing all of your income. And honestly, of course, back then it was, you got it at 65 and died at 72. And that was part of the issue with why it's having some struggles, I guess, in solvency. But it's going to be there, I think. It might not be there to the extent that they're forecasting it today. And so I think it's also okay to count on some of that. But to your point, if your income is 100K and your Social Security is going to be 35, that's half, right? You need to come up with the other 35 after tax to get. So start penciling that out on your clean sheet of paper and going, well, how do I get 35,000 a year in addition to my Social Security?
Tactically, the thing I always like to do is to plan on the worst and hope for the best. And while I like Social Security being there, and I think that it will be, man, if I can plan to not have it at all, and then I get it, like that's my kind of plan.
Well, yeah, in a perfect world, sure.
And obviously, if we're starting with $180,000, we're not gonna be able to plan that way. But if I'm young enough that I can try to plan without it and then have it happen, that's great. Second on their list of 3 here, a lot of people forced to retire. 40% of retiree clients, according to Edward Jones. Edward Jones surveyed their clients. 40% of their retirees reported that they didn't end their career when they thought they were going to. They actually ended earlier, OG, and not because they wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
That's a disturbing number. I think we should all be cognizant of that. Retirement might find us instead of us finding it.
Yeah. And I also think around the resourcefulness, I'm thinking about a family member who did just a magnificently terrible job of saving money.
Epic.
And it's just, one for the record books. and is counting on that Social Security money to be all of it, and a little bit of a pension from a company that still had a pension. But the resourcefulness of that couple that I see as they are now into their 70s with virtually nothing saved, they're still figuring it out. Like, we hear these stories over time about different levels of happiness, right? And it's like once you get past 60K, there's, and some studies vary. It's like 60 or 70 or 105 or whatever, but it's never like you got to get to $1 million before you're happy. It's always some tens of thousands of dollars number. It's like, take care of the roof over my head, make sure it's heated and cooled correctly. I got water and I've got food, and then everything above that is a nice to have, but it doesn't materially change my life, whether I vacation at a Four Seasons or I'm at a state park. Both of them have their pros and cons. The Four Seasons has way more pros, FYI.
Heated pool versus the dirty
that
pond,
slimy lake that everyone else swims in. Ugh, gross.
The kid, the 11-year-old looking off in the distance, who's clearly not swimming. He's doing something else.
Yes, daydreaming. Exactly. Why is it so warm right here?
This one little pocket. Of course, wait a minute. That happens at the Four Seasons too, doesn't it?
I was going to say 11-year-old, more like 41-year-old.
Oh, yeah, duh. After 3 beers down at the Four Seasons bar.
Yeah. What the hell were we talking about? The resourcefulness. I'm also impressed by the fact that even people who have done absolutely no saving still make it work. I understand, and I completely know from personal experience that there is a base level of need, right? You have to have a certain amount of income and resources to put a roof on your head, to eat food and provide shelter and that sort of thing. But that's a surprisingly low number relative to all of this. So I also do think if you're that 40-year-old that's thinking about this, like, oh my gosh, I'm way behind, even if they pull you out at 60 and you're planning at 65, I think you're still going to be okay because you've got 20 years. Yeah, you didn't have 25. But that also doesn't mean that you have to hang up your apron at 60 either. There's other things you can do from 60 to 70 or 60 to 80 if you know, like I said, my job when I retire is going to be to mow grass. I'm going to work at a golf course and mow grass.
We had Tessa West on Monday. For people that didn't hear Tessa, you want to go back and listen to that, because I think also, you know, in your retirement years, finding things that are meaningful, finding meaningful work, meaningful place that may bring in money for somebody that still needs money. I think that's even important for you.
Well, a little bit goes a long ways. It's like if you're at $50K a year between 2 Social Security incomes and each person figures out a way to make $500 more a month. You go, $500, that's nothing. That's 20% more income. That's going from 50,000 a year to 62,000 a year. That is a big difference. And it's not that challenging to make $500. You know, now do you want to be doing it when you're 92? Probably not.
No.
But it's doable. That's my point. Don't have despair. I'm not trying to say this is going to be easy. I'm just saying, like, if you're worried about it, you don't have to have as much concern because it'll still be okay. You have lots of time.
We've gotten some pushback from, I've gotten some pushback for things that I've said from some nice stackers. Someone on Instagram recently saying, I heard you say before that, you know, you don't just suddenly run out of money. And I think people are misconstruing what I'm saying there. I'm saying that, to your point, OG, when you have no money or you have very little money, you still find a way. I agree with the person on Instagram. It's not the way that you want to live. No. It isn't where you want to be, but you don't go from saving $1 million to all of a sudden it's gone. You see this slow.
Yeah, unless you do something really, really, really stupid or like gamble or something. You know what I mean? Like,
yes. Yeah.
It wasn't a bad investment that made you go from $1 million to zero.
Right. I think finding an orderly way to take what you have today and work with what you have today to make it more is number one. If you can plan, that's much better. You're certainly not going to plan on having 180,000 and hope to make it all the way through retirement on that money. But to this piece's point, a lot of people do. And they're in the spot that they're in. And this person on Instagram said, well, that's not really a way to live your life. I totally agree. I completely agree.
So back to your original discussion or your original conversation about this, use that as the motivation. If the average person has 180K in retirement or at retirement, see if you can get to 180 sooner. Like, imagine what that would be like. And you go, well, geez, that's not at all what I want to have happen. What do you want to have happen? This is the crux of all of this, is choosing a different path early on, because every day that you wait, every year that goes by and you go from 37 to 47 to 52, that's that much more of a radical change. Like I said before, you change your 401k by 1%, you probably don't even notice it. Put $50 in a Roth, probably not going to notice it for most people. Now change it 6 months from now to $75, you probably don't notice it. You have that luxury when you're in your 30s and 40s to make those small changes. If you're 50 and you show up in my office and go, all right, I'm ready to get started, what do I do? We're ripping the Band-Aid off. It's not going to be this slow, steady, like, let's just change 1% every 6 month type of thing, because that's not going to get it done. You're going to have to make a radical change. So if you want to avoid that, then make the small changes now.
The third piece on here is the high cost of healthcare. And that is definitely something that we all need to plan on, is that, man, well before retirement, if you're able to, or as soon as you can, make sure you understand how Medicare works. Make sure you understand parts A, B, and D, that you've got Medicare at least 101, hopefully 201 in your back pocket before you get there, because healthcare.
I like looking at that sometime around your 62nd birthday. You're far enough out that you can deep dive into it, but then also you're close enough that there's not likely to be radical changes. You know, people ask me in their 40s and 50s, like, hey, so how do we think about this Medicare thing? How do we think? It's like, that's 4 presidential cycles away. I don't have any idea where we're going with this. You know, we barely know what's going to happen with this next one. Let's wait until we're a little bit closer and there's some consistency around where things are today. That doesn't mean you should not think about it. Fidelity says quite famously that you need $300,000 when you walk into retirement to cover all of your out-of-pocket healthcare costs. Back to your 180K, that's 300,000 on top of whatever the heck else you need to live on.
Haven't even done that.
So if you're 30, if you're 40, and you can say, hey, 300,000 is a lot of money, but that's really only 5,000 more a year of savings in my HSA, and I can get there by 65. I think that's a real prudent thing to think about.
We will link to this piece. Of course, at the end here, then it devolves into a bunch of advertisements like these pieces do. But all in all, nice fodder from Maury Backman. I think there's also other ways that people run out of money, but those 3 hopefully get people on the right track.
Children.
If you're late in the game,
College.
do what you can do. If you're early, what's that?
I said children in college. That's how I'm running out of money.
Well, if you're early to the game, I think this is a good cautionary tale. Put yourself in that spot. I don't want to be 70 something and worried about this. If I'm 40 now, if I'm 70 now, I am where I am. I don't want to be at 80 and have the same issue. We'll link to it in our show notes. Coming up next, do we have a TikTok minute? I'm going to ask a different question this week, OG. Do we have a TikTok minute that beats the Bridezilla TikTok minute you guys had on last Wednesday? Holy cow. What a mess that woman was.
Fun, huh?
Demanding more from her guests.
Yeah, you know, just we were going to have a party, but now we need more money for a bigger party, please.
And we put off the wedding, but don't worry, we're going to use all your gifts for our honeymoon, which we're going to take before the wedding, and then defending that. Do we have a better TikTok minute? We're going to find out in just a second. But Doug, time for you to step in and step up, man, because it is trivia time. What do you got?
Hey there, stackers. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and there truly is nothing funny about Old Joke Day. I mean, who'd tell an old joke like this one just for a cheap laugh? It's not who we are, but I'll give you an example. This cop went to arrest a guy. The guy said, "What are you arresting me for?" The cop said, "Drinking." The guy said, "Oh, that's great. When do we start?" Or, the one about the skeleton who walks into the bar and says, "Bartender, I'd like a beer and a mop." Not funny. See? Told you, not funny. Not going to go do those jokes. Like the other bar joke. The horse walks into the bar and the bartender says, "Why the long face?" It's just horrible, right? I wouldn't stoop to that level. We're better than that. Today is the anniversary of one song that brought in lots of Benjamins on this day in history. I'll just say that I feel so unsure as I take your hand and lead you to this trivia question. What song released on today's date in 1984 makes me realize I'm never gonna give trivia again the way I give trivia to you? I'll be back right after I go wham and slap myself for accidentally telling those old jokes up there. God, I'm sorry. They're just so bad. Speaking of, God, maybe one more. Why did Cinderella get kicked off her soccer team? Because she kept running away from the ball. All right, yeah, I gotta stop it.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states.
You didn't start a business just to keep the lights on. You're here to sell more today than yesterday. You're here to win. Lucky for you, Shopify built the best converting checkout on the planet. Like the just one tapping, ridiculously fast acting, sky-high sales stacking, champion of checkouts. That's the good stuff right there. So if your business is in it to win it, win with Shopify. Start your free trial today at shopify.com/win.
Did you know Fast Growing Trees is America's largest and most trusted online nursery with thousands of trees and plants and over 2 million happy customers? Whether you're planting fruit trees, adding privacy, brightening things up with flowers, or bringing in houseplants, Fast Growing Trees has it all. Even better, they can help you find options that are right for your climate, your space, and lifestyle. Click Order Grow. Every plant arrives healthy with the Alive and Thrive guarantee straight to your door. So if you're ready to get planting, this is the moment. Right now, they have great deals on spring planting essentials, up to half off on select plants. And listeners to our show get 20% off their first purchase when using the code WWO at checkout. That's an additional 20% off. Better plants and better growing at fastgrowingtrees.com using the code WWO at checkout. Fastgrowingtrees.com, code WWO. Now's the perfect time to plant. Let's grow together. Use WWO to save today. Offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions apply. Go to growingfasttrees.com for details.
Hey there, stackers. I'm the bringer of fun and avoider of old joke day, Joe's mom's neighbor Doug. Seriously, I mean, who would celebrate a holiday where you tell jokes like, like this horrible one? What do you call a Mexican man with a rubber toe? Roberto. Oh, I mean, it's so bad. Maybe slightly funny, but it's insensitive, right? I mean, I'm not sure who it's insensitive toward, but probably somebody. Or this one, I like to go camping, said Tom intently. Seriously, just no, you don't do that on a high quality show like this one. Today's question was about a band and a hit song released on today's date way back in 1984 about feeling unsure and taking your hand all the way to the dance floor. That song, which went all the way to number 1, was Careless Whisper by Wham. And wham! Just like that, you have your trivia answer. And we can stop with the old joke day stuff. No more jokes like, my boss asked me why I only get sick on weekdays, and I told her it must be my weakened immune system. My weakened immune system. You'll figure it out. Okay, I'm getting the look now, so I gotta probably run. See ya!
Oh my God, Doug. No wonder he's running upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
Those are absolutely, who would stoop to those?
Not a big fan.
No, we don't like old jokes. You know, jokes like, what kind of birds are always sticking to each other? Velcros. See, we'd never do stuff like that. Or where do all the letters sleep? In the alphabet. No? How did the hipster burn his tongue? Dude, he drank all the coffee before it was cool. We'd never do jokes like that.
Can we?
What? What are you saying?
Another segment.
I'm just saying that we would never do that. You're getting all whatever, just proving a point. Hey, time for our TikTok minute. This is we're cleaning it up by doing the TikTok minute. How bad is that? This is better. We shine a light on a TikTok creator who's either doing something brilliant or air quotes brilliant. I'm not even going to ask you that question today, OG. I'm going to ask you this one. Is this one better than Bridezilla that we had last Wednesday? Is this a better TikTok minute or more dangerous?
Better in what sense? Like better, just play the damn thing.
Maybe just more entertaining. Is it more entertaining
just
than Bridezilla?
play.
All right. From parents to kids, we often have to, OG, talk to our kids about our estate plan, make sure the estate plan's in order. And this is old buddy on TikTok talking with his son about his estate plan.
I get to the point where I can't take care of myself, don't remember who anyone is. You just let me go. Put me out of my misery. Come on, don't talk like that. Yeah, just strap me on my boat. Point me out to sea. Let the ocean do the rest. Okay, Dad, that's enough. No, I mean it. Take me down to Key West, put me on the boat, aim me at Cuba, full throttle.
Dad, enough. Have you even thought for a second about how I might feel knowing that I don't get your boat? That's a Grady White, and I'm not going to let you sink it into Caribbean. I want it.
Well, sorry, I never thought of it that way.
All right. We'll find you a raft or a small sailboat or something. Maybe a box that floats.
That handles it much, much better. You can't get rid of the boat.
You know, they have Amber Alerts. Obviously, you get them on your phone in case there's something that people need to be aware of. They have Silver Alerts. You know, have you seen a Silver Alert before?
No. What's a Silver Alert?
It's the same thing, but for old people. It's
Oh.
like, you know, grandpa's gone missing, you know, whatever. I told my kids, it's intentional. Like, you never have to do a Silver Alert for me. I have finally did it. Just
If I'm gone,
there's a reason. Don't come looking for me. I finally had enough.
one day Grandpa G just walks off into the sunset.
It's like we're looking for a blue Mercedes. The occupant is 87. He hasn't been seen since Thanksgiving. Yes, that's what did it. I finally went. I've had enough. I can't take it anymore.
It's all done.
I've run away. It's 1,000% intentional.
You'd be pissed off if you saw the Silver Alert. Oh,
That's for you. God dang it. They found me. I'm convinced that's probably a lot of those. It's like, you know, the old man's driving down the road going, I got to change cars again. They're looking for the Camry this time.
Learns to hotwire just having escape plans.
Exactly.
Get away from all the nasty family.
Yeah.
It's so good. Thank you to Teresa for sending that to me. You got a TikTok minute for us. I love talking estate planning in great ways. Make sure you don't give away the boat.
That one was
think about how I feel. I want the boat.
Yeah.
Don't care about dad off on the raft. Who cares? Hey, let's answer a call from a stacker who said, you know what? I better call Saul, C-High, and OG. This is the segment where we help a stacker in need. And today, Eric's got a question for you, OG.
All right.
Hey, Doug. It's your friend Eric from Banana Hammocks Anonymous. We've been missing you on Thursday nights down at the Sizzler. We hope you come back. We all really miss your body.
Whoa.
Anyways, question for Joe and OG. I have been pumping money into my HSA for several years now through my company and get a company contribution as well. I'm a young guy in my middle of my 30s, healthy as can be, no family. It's approaching about $30,000 now, and I just don't know what to do with it. I clearly covers my high deductible plan. I cash flow any sort of health expenses that I do have currently. And yeah, I'm just curious as far as what your thoughts are on if I need to continue to pump money into it or if I need to pivot somewhere else. I don't like the idea that Paula has of pulling receipts and then pulling cash out as you need. I'm just not that organized. And then for me, just curious to see as far as, is it just a retirement fund? Is there anything else that I need to be thinking about now and planning for accordingly? All right, Doug, see you Thursday night.
I think I just threw up in my mouth. And I thought Doug's old dad jokes were going to make me throw up in my mouth. And Eric, you did it. You know what's funny? That is a common problem, by the way. People that have issues. I remember our friend Belinda Rosenblum talked about that. She's like, I love the HSA idea where you keep the receipts and then you pull them later on. And she said, but you know what? I work with real people. And so many people are so disorganized and have a hell of a time just hanging on to the receipts. Like just having the HSA for now works. But what do you think about Eric's question?
A couple of thoughts on that. There's a couple of ways to think about this. One is with everybody having camera phones, why don't you just take a picture of it, put it in a separate folder on your phone? You know, it takes 2 seconds. You can scan it, put it on Google, Dropbox, you know, Google Docs, whatever. I'm curious if someone way smarter than me has an opinion about, like, a lot of credit card companies will at the end of the year send you an annual summary. Like, here's all the money you spent every month and, you know, categorized and all that sort of stuff. I wonder if someone would opine as to whether or not they thought that might be satisfactory for expenses. You know, if it was like categorized by American Express as here's all your healthcare spend by month and by transaction, does that count? We're kind of using that as an approach. But here's the way that I would think about the HSAs. It's such a fantastic tool, and it's definitely part of the order of operations in terms of saving and investing, right? So you've maxed out everything, and now you're back to maxing out your HSA, and that's fantastic. You don't need the money. A lot of HSAs require you to keep a certain amount of money in cash as part of their program. So once you've exceeded that, I think you invest it. You invest it as part of your equity portfolio, long-term investing. But here's the thing. If you're 35 and you don't have a family, stuff starts breaking when you're in your 40s and 50s. I mean, I know people in their 40s and 50s that have had knee surgeries. I know people that have had back surgery. I know people that, a buddy of mine had arm surgery not too long ago. He tore something in his arm. So it's like these different things show up in your life and you don't know when they're going to happen. And then if you have a family like we do with these three little monsters, they break stuff. When Alex broke his collarbone and the surgery itself that was billed to now insurance covered a lot of it, but the surgery cost itself was $40K. We had to pay a substantial amount of that out of pocket, because we have a high deductible plan. So I don't think that you can count yourself as out of the woods yet for healthcare spending at 30 some odd years old going, I got 30 grand. I'm feeling pretty good, because one kid collarbone surgery will burn through that in a heartbeat. So I think you have the opportunity to kind of keep your foot on the gas for a while, keep on investing the money, keep on, if you have the ability to do it, right? This is down the line in terms of the order, but if you have the ability to do it and you've been doing it and you can keep doing it, all you're doing is buying yourself flexibility. And the worst case scenario is you don't have the receipts, you don't have a way to do it, and you pay a little tax on the way out, which is what you would have done anyway if you wouldn't do the HSA, right? You'd either consume it and pay sales tax on the consumption, or you'd invest in your brokerage account and you'd end up
with capital gains or whatever,
capital gains taxes or whatever. So I think there's nothing wrong with buying yourself the flexibility right now.
Eric, thanks so much for the question. Great question. We are sending Eric some swag for his contribution to the show. That is his reward for calling in. And you know what? If you've got a question for us, head to stackingbenjamins.com/voicemail. That's where you leave us the voicemail, and then you'll hear yourself on the show in, a few weeks. If you're not wondering about your HSA, though, you're wondering about your plan in general and how to make things dovetail. OG and his team are taking clients. So head to stackingbenjamins.com/OG. That's the first step. It's the link to their calendar. Mm-hmm. And then you schedule a time and a first meeting then where you can see how they will work with you to do better planning than you've done in the past. Coming up on Friday before we go to the back porch. Well, let's just mosey on the back porch and I'll tell you, OG, sure, what's happening on Friday. Friday is the opening ceremonies for the Olympics already. Lauren Williams, who is the first woman to medal in both the Summer and Winter Olympics.
Here in Texas, here in Dallas.
Yeah, we said she was our moderator for my book event in Dallas, and we had a lot of fun. You and Doug and I hanging out with everybody in Dallas and with Lauren. So can't wait to regroup with her, and we'll get her take on, what's it like walking out there as one of these Olympians. I think it's pretty cool just knowing.
Pretty rarefied air.
Yeah, just knowing somebody that's done that is pretty awesome. I remember her showing us her medals once before we did a recording, and they're in her sock drawer.
Yeah.
Yep. It's pretty wild. She's digging through her socks and goes,
here
here
somewhere. Ding, 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 ding. Oh, here they are. Clang, clang. These things? Oh,
gold and silver medals. Hey, I want to thank everybody for some of well, first I want to thank you and Doug for taking over the show the last couple of weeks. I want to thank people for the notes that I got. My dad passed away, which was what happened. And that was expected. My dad had cancer that was complications from Agent Orange. He was in the Navy in Vietnam, and his best friend had died from similar cancer and Agent Orange related just a few years ago. But the cool thing about my dad is there were no regrets, OG, and before he died, he said, I'd lived a great life. And he totally had. If I could do it the way that he did it, like that was great. But I want to tell a story about when we got the call that it was time to rush home. So I was at this national park, which is what I was going to talk about, right? I've talked about my travel to bore you guys to tears. So I was at Great Basin National Park. which is a great national park right on the border of Utah and Nevada. It's barely in Nevada. It's the highest mountain in Nevada. They're over 13,000 feet. And Wheeler Peak, the centerpiece of the park. There's also Nevada's only glacier. I didn't know Nevada had a glacier. It's Nevada's only glacier is on Wheeler Peak. We climbed it. We were getting ready to climb it when we get the call, OG. Get the call from my sister that my dad had a heart attack and that he had taken a turn for the worse. We thought he had several weeks to live. I was going to be going there about a week and a half later to visit again. And she said that the nurse was coming and they were going to assess how long they thought my dad might have. And of course, you never know, right? How long anybody has. But I originally said, I'm like, yeah, I'm not going. You know, I think we all kind of deny that it's a family member's time. Like you're like, nope, I'm not going. I'm not going to, nope. Like if I don't go, he's not going to die. So we take off on this hike to scale this mountain. And it was a bear. It was a 6-hour hike. But during that time, I realized that we all have our own mountains that we have to climb. And we also need help. We need to help each other. And we also want to be there for the important moments. So I realized on the way up the mountain that, yeah, we needed to cut this short. And I did need to go home.
Is there any chance it was just because you were really tired from climbing and you're like, yeah, I'm not
doing any more of this.
I'm not doing any more of this. This is really a bigger mountain than I thought it was. How do I get off this damn thing? I'll tell Cheryl I need to go see Dad. Yeah, I've been thinking about it. We need to head back.
Thank you for the excuse, Dad.
Thanks.
Thanks for getting me out of this crap.
Sorry, didn't mean to add a little bit of levity to this. I know this.
It was a beautiful hike. By the way, you get to the top of it, and somebody had put a mailbox into the rocks, and you opened up the mailbox, and there was a thing to sign your name that you climbed this 13,000-foot mountain. Oh, wow. And but there was also a little folded up piece of cardboard. So there's a picture of Cheryl and I with Wheeler Peak, and a picture. There were 4 other guys up there that took our picture, and we took their picture at the top. So that was pretty cool. It was a beautiful hike. It was hard, but it was beautiful. We get back down to the rental car and call my sister, and the nurse had just gotten there. And so we were going to rush back to this beautiful cabin that we had. By the time we get there, my sister calls me again and goes, yeah, the nurse thinks that you have time to go home. Because my question was, do I fly right to my parents' house, or do I go home first and then drive, which I really want to do because I want to be able to stay long-term because we didn't know how long he had. Said that I had plenty of time to go home, but I should start that journey now because you just don't know.
Yeah.
I had a non-refundable hotel room for the next day because what was going to go wrong, right? I'm going to pay less money and do the non-refundable hotel room. Big thanks to the Sheraton 4 Points in Salt Lake City. When I wrote them and I said, hey, can I just change this to a day early? They're like, yeah, no problem. I told them why. And they said, yeah, no problem. So that was cool. Changing a non-refundable thing. The airlines, can't believe I'm about to freaking say this. The airlines, so easy to work with. American Airlines. Yep. Flights available, change it, no additional cost. Moving the flight just the day before, super easy to do. We have a 4-hour drive to Salt Lake City. Halfway through, Cheryl is fidgeting because we've got so much going on. She takes her wedding ring and drops it between the seat and the console in this rental vehicle that we had. And then she starts digging like, I didn't even know what was going on. Like I'm just driving along, we're listening to the radio, and all of a sudden she's digging between the seat. And she can't find anywhere her ring. And finally, after, I don't know, like 40 minutes, dude, I pull over and I'm helping her. We can't find this ring anywhere. And obviously the ring has value, but a ton of, value for us. And she can't find it. She's freaking out. And so we realize we're not going to find the ring. Like we're just not going to find it. We need some help finding it. And the only way we think we're going to be able to find it is to either take out that center console. There's like some holes in the console on the bottom. And also there were some holes underneath the seat. And we realized that we might have to take out this console and take out the seat in an Avis rental car. So Cheryl starts calling around. She finds a place called Action Towing in downtown Seattle. And the woman at Action Towing goes, oh, I've lost stuff under the seat. She goes, believe it or not, taking out the seat is way easier than you think. She goes, you just need the right tools. And Cheryl goes, oh, thank God. So we agree that she's freaking out so much. And we're going to get to the hotel at about 10 o'clock. Our plane, we have to leave our plane at 4 a.m. So initially I said, hey, I'll go and take care of the ring and you just get some sleep. And she goes, no. You're going to be in a car driving. The second we land, I'm going to be in a car driving across the country from Texas back to the Midwest to go see my dad. So she's like, no, you get sleep and I'm going to freak out about this anyway. So we get to the hotel and the woman, this wonderful dispatcher lady at Action Towing says, yeah, we're helping the city with some jobs. And so we got to take care of that first. I'm going to text you. So she waits, I'm going to say about an hour, and there's still been no text. So at 11:30 at night, she calls Action Towing. She calls the woman back, and a dude answers. And he sounds kind of annoyed. By the way, 24-hour towing, supposedly. Cheryl explains, and the guy goes, no, that was just the dispatcher. Listen, we're way too tired to do any of this, so we're not coming.
Nice.
Are you kidding me? I got to be at the airport at 4 a.m. It's 11:30 at night, and you just bailed. You just bailed for no reason. She literally starts crying because she's been working. So her hand has gotten bloody from being between the seat and the console. She's very worked up. We're both very tired, obviously, as well. And she starts crying with the guy. And the guy from Action Towing, and I want to say that word over and over, those two words, Action Towing, because this dude was a loser. No, I'm sorry, we're not doing it. No, we're not doing. No, that was just the dispatcher. And she goes, can I just talk to the dispatcher? Because she said she's done it herself. Yeah, I can't give you her number. Yeah, I can't do that. No. And he goes, you got to find somebody that does like a 24-hour mechanic comes to you. She goes, do you know any of those people? No, I'm sorry, I don't know anybody. Dude practically hangs up on her. Nice. So now it's going on midnight and we are calling towing services and we're telling them the weirdest story of all time. We have this rental car. We need to take the seat out. Do you do that? We only work on trucks. No, we only do towing. We don't have anything to do that. She calls AAA. We're not even AAA members. AAA person's very nice. Connects us with a dude who calls us back 10 minutes later. This dude's in San Diego. We're in Salt Lake City. Guy goes, I have no idea why they did that.
I can be there by Tuesday. I'm sorry. It's like the scene in Tommy Boy. Like, oh, there's no tickets to Sandusky. I can have you in Chicago by tomorrow at noon.
Right? What are you talking about? So she calls towing guy number 87. I don't even remember how she got this dude's name, but it's the first guy we've talked to right as we're giving up hope who has any empathy at all. And he's like, yeah, I don't take seats out. I don't have any of the stuff. He goes, I feel horrible. That's just a horrible situation to be in. He said, what's funny is that my son has been taking some like technical training with this company, but they also, while they're teaching him the electronics, they're also teaching him like the different tools to take. I bet that my son might be able to do this. And he gives her 2 phone numbers and says, tell him that dad called. So she calls this guy Jake, kind of does all kinds of stuff. Turns out he also does like you lose your keys in your car, that kind of thing. He does that business. Jake says, yeah, I'll come out right now. And I'm sure we're going to find it. Like we go from having no hope at all to, yes, I'm sure we're going to find it. Jake comes and shows up. Jake is amazing. Jake's like, I got this covered. We're going to take the seat out. Realizes he doesn't have the part. He's like, listen, I got to go to Park City. I'm not going to be able, he tries to find it. He can't find the thing either. I got to go to Park City, 35 minutes away. It is now 1 o'clock in the morning. It might even be 1:30 in the morning. We got to leave by 4 a.m. I'm going 35 minutes away and I'm coming back. I was already in bed. Cheryl said, I made the call of the decade. I give this dude my car keys. And I said, I'm going to go get some sleep. Dude, I've never met before. I have no idea. I'm handing him the key to my rental car so that when he comes back, he can just take the stuff apart. Cheryl goes back out there at about 3:15. Jake is back. Jake has taken the seat apart. It is 4 a.m. I am walking out with our suitcases and stuff. The seat's completely out of the rental car, and they find it underneath this huge seam, buried deep inside the seam. They find the thing.
Wow.
The dude is running Cheryl's credit card, OG. He's running our credit card while I've got the car running. We throw the stuff in the back. We go to the airport. We make our plane by 10 minutes. Like there's 10 minutes until they're closing the gate for people on. But I got to say, this whole time, Jake is like, we're going to find it. Don't worry. We're going to do it. And at a time when you need humanity and you need somebody to just give a Jake like steps up. So if anybody wants the number for Action Towing, screw you, Action Towing. If anybody wants to know Jake, if you're stuck with your keys locked in your car, whatever, you want Jake's number, please call me, write me, because Jake's a badass.
I just want to know the scene at Avis when you showed up and the seat, Cheryl's right in the back seat, the seat's on crooked. It's like that comedy bit where the guy says, you know, you can just drop the car at the, like, sir, you can't park here. You call Avis. Hey, I left your car at the Terminal D. You know, the keys are in, it's running, you know, and the Avis guy's like, God dang it. Not again. Right. Like what did Avis say when you returned the car half assembled? You're like,
Jake
look,
did a great job of putting it back together.
He's like, I've got these 4 bolts. I don't know where these go.
Right.
You're like, it doesn't matter. Just throw them in the center console. The next guy's going to really figure out this thing's not put together.
And the consoles rattle around because we took that off too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Wow. You know, you look at this as a lesson in humanity and, you know, people being nice. And that I look at it as this is another reason why I will never travel with you. Like chaos seems to find every possible situation. Like I've never heard you tell a story of, yeah, I got on my first class jet to London, ate at a nice Michelin restaurant, and the hotel was fantastic, and breezed through security on the way home, and global entry was awesome, and I got all my shit on time, and the plane was early. Like it's always, there's never that. You never have that story.
No,
it's always like, so there, you're never going to believe this. So there I was
stranded and naked in the middle of Rome
without my seat in my car. Well, I'm glad that worked out. Obviously we're sorry to hear about your dad and glad, obviously would take care of whatever we need to so that you can have all the time you need.
You guys did a great job. I got to edit and listen to those shows and those were so fun.
Sadly, I think we've gotten so much fan mail. You might not be needed around for a while.
I was hoping not. I wanted to talk about that.
Well, let's talk about that with Doug for a quick second. He really did like the Big D. That was, he kind of took
I've heard that Doug's all about the Big D.
We experimented with lots of things.
Yeah.
Doug experimented with the Big D.
Totally did. But anyway, thanks to you guys. Thanks to everybody. And this story does end well. I made it to Cleveland, where my dad lives, and 4 hours before he died, which was great. Yeah. So anyway, Doug, let's get us out of this modeling stuff. What should we have learned today besides how to unscrew the passenger seat in an Avis rental car?
So what should we have learned today? First, take some advice from our headline. Model out your spending so that you're left with some funds late in life and can have some fun early as well. Life's about balance. Second, take some advice from our TikTok minute and remember, maybe your kid wants the boat. Put yourself out to sea on a raft or something less valuable. But the big lesson? This old joke day is just horrible. No more. And finally, to whoever took my selfie stick, I hope you take a long look at yourself. This show is the property of SB Podcasts, LLC, copyright 2024, and is created by Joe Salsihai. Joe gets help from a few of our neighborhood friends. You'll find out about our awesome team at stackingbenjamins.com, along with the show notes and how you can find us on YouTube and all the usual social media spots. Come say hello. Oh yeah, and before I go, Not only should you not take advice from these nerds, don't take advice from people you don't know. This show is for entertainment purposes only. Before making any financial decisions, speak with a real financial advisor. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and we'll see you next time back here at the Stacking Benjamin Show.